Hey everyone, my name is Katie, and today I'm presenting a reputation risk assessment for a proposed initiative between Starbucks and the sustainable water bottle company We Are the Ripple. The goal to responsibly re-enter the California bottled water market, one of the most environmentally and politically sensitive regions when it comes to water use. This presentation walks you through the potential risks, opportunities, and strategic recommendations tied to this move. So, this assessment is meant to evaluate the reputation risk and benefits of Starbucks partnering with We Are the Ripple to introduce responsibly bottled water in California. The goal isn't just commercial, it's about advancing Starbucks' sustainability commitments. But as we'll see, water bottling in California is a reputational minefield. This scope includes stakeholder perceptions, media narratives, and strategic management of short, medium, and long-term risks. So, California is not just a big market. It's one of the most scrutinized when it comes to environmental responsibility. Previous backlash against companies bottling water during droughts has made the public skeptical. So, while the opportunity to serve eco-conscious consumers is real, the reputational risk is significant. Environmental NGOs, state regulators, and even local communities are key players here. When we map stakeholders, we see that NGOs, media, and regulators are the most influential and engaged. They'll shape public discourse. Consumers, especially those who value sustainability, will be watching, but their influence is more collective than direct. Investors are interested, in ESG risk, but they aren't necessarily vocal. Competitors are largely avoiding water altogether or opting for vague, low-risk green branding. So, despite these risks, there's a clear upside. This initiative could help Starbucks reclaim leadership in environmental responsibility. With transparency in sourcing, recyclable packaging, and community reinvestment, this venture can set a new standard. Plus, it aligns with younger consumers' values, offering a potential halo effect for the broader Starbucks brand. So, the risk register highlights our top concerns. Media backlash is nearly guaranteed if we don't communicate carefully. Accusations of greenwashing could surface even with good intentions, and public misunderstanding about where the water comes from or how it's managed could spiral quickly. Local pushback is another wild card. Communities want to know what's happening in their backyards. So, in scenario planning for the short term, the biggest risk is immediate backlash at the announcement. Headlines like Starbucks is bottling California's water again could dominate. Even with We Are the Ripple sustainable practices, without careful storytelling, Starbucks may be seen as repeating past mistakes. Social media discourse can escalate within hours, so timing, messaging, and stakeholder briefings will be critical. For the medium term, we're looking at political and community hurdles. Gaining operational approval and community buy-in will be tough, especially if any aspect of the process feels secretive or exclusive. This is the phase where NGOs may protest or pressure government partners. Public town halls and open data practices can help mitigate this. For the long-term risks, which are harder to predict, but they are crucial to plan for. If another drought hits California, the bottled water business, even a sustainable one, could face renewed criticism. Additionally, Starbucks must remain confident in We Are the Ripple's practices and transparency. Long-term brand health here depends on how responsibly and consistently the JV operates. Now, before we transition into the strategies for risk mitigation, it's critical to pause and reflect on the precedent set by two powerful cases. First, Coca-Cola's experience in India. So, the company was accused of drawing excessive groundwater for its bottling operations and contaminating local supplies. These actions sparked widespread protests, media outrage, and plant closures. But more importantly, they caused lasting reputational harm that extended far beyond India. It's a cautionary tale in how deeply local environmental issues can ripple, pun intended, into global brand perception. Closer to home, Nestle has long been criticized for its water bottling practices in California, particularly during periods of drought. Even as the company adhered to regulatory permissions, public perception labeled them as exploitive. Efforts to boost transparency and social responsibility followed, but much of the public trust had already been eroded. So both examples reinforce a core lesson. Environmental stewardship and community sentiment can make or break a brand's reputation. As Starbucks and We Are the Ripple prepare to re enter California's water market, understanding and avoiding these pitfalls is not just smart, it is essential. To proactively mitigate potential reputational risks, Starbucks and We Are the Ripple must deploy a strategy rooted in authenticity, transparency, and localized engagement. First and foremost, communication must be clear and continuous. Stakeholders, from regulators to consumers, should never be left guessing about sourcing, environmental impact, or company intent. Second, I recommend co-creating water stewardship plans with California-based environmental organizations and community leaders. This not only builds trust, it embeds Starbucks and We Are the Ripple into the social fabric of water-conscious California. I also propose an external environmental auditing partner to ensure accountability and transparency. Sharing findings publicly, even when they're imperfect, signals credibility and corporate integrity. Finally, launching an educational campaign around responsible water consumption, sustainability, and community reinvestment will help shift the narrative from corporate water bottling to community conscious innovation. Altogether, these strategies not only manage the risk, they position the partnership as a leader in environmental responsibility and stakeholder sensitivity. So, this table presents the risk register, a distilled snapshot of the major reputation risks identified across our planning process. So, the two most severe risks are the perception of water exploitation and the possibility of losing narrative control in the media. Both would strike directly at Starbucks and We Are the Ripple's core brand values of responsibility and sustainability. Activist pushback and accusations of greenwashing fall just behind. Still significant and often fast moving in the social media era. If mishandled, even moderate risks like consumer backlash or local resistance could escalate it rapidly. By identifying and pre-scoring these risks in advance, the joint venture can prioritize mitigation efforts and allocate internal resources accordingly. Transparency, responsiveness, and environmental action will be key in reducing both likelihood and perceived impact over time. So, this assessment concludes that the overall reputation risk level of re entering the California water market through a partnership with We Are the Ripple is medium to high. The commercial opportunity is clear. Starbucks has the reach and brand loyalty to revolutionize how sustainable bottled water is perceived and distributed. However, the reputational landscape remains complex and emotionally charged, especially in a drought-prone region like California. With the right strategy, this could reinforce Starbucks' sustainability credentials and rebuild public trust in commercial water ventures. But missteps, even small ones, could trigger outsized backlash and long-term brand damage. So the recommendation here is to proceed with caution. That means deep community collaboration, real-time reputation monitoring, and a commitment to long-term environmental accountability. If this is done well, this could be a reputational turning point for both Starbucks and We Are the Ripple. Not a liability, but a legacy. My name is Katie Cushing. Thank you so much.